Hey there, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today because we're going to talk about something that I think really makes a difference in how your life actually feels, you know? And that's how you structure your day. Because here's the thing, we all have the same 24 hours, but somehow some days you go to bed feeling amazing and accomplished, and other days you're just like, where did the time go? What did I even do? And I've been there, trust me. I've had those days where I felt like I was busy the whole time, but didn't actually get anything meaningful done. So today I want to walk you through how I've learned to manage my day in a way that actually works for me. And I'm not saying my way is the only way or the perfect way, but it's helped me feel more energized, more focused, and honestly just happier. And I think when you get your daily routine dialed in, everything else starts to fall into place. Your health improves, you learn better, you feel less stressed, and you actually have time for the things that matter to you. So let's dive in, and I'll share what my days look like and why I do things the way I do. Okay, so let me start with the morning because I really believe that how you start your day sets the tone for everything else. I wake up at 5:30 most mornings. I know, that sounds early, and it is. But here's the thing, I didn't always wake up this early. For years, I was hitting snooze until 7 or 7:30, rushing through my morning, skipping breakfast, and just feeling behind before the day even started. And I realized that I was letting the day happen to me instead of taking control of it. So I started experimenting with waking up earlier, and honestly, it changed everything. At 5:30, the house is quiet. There's no emails coming in yet, no texts, no demands on my attention. It's just me and my thoughts, and there's something really peaceful about that. And I'm not saying you have to wake up at 5:30, right? Maybe your magic hour is 6 or 6:30. The key is giving yourself enough time in the morning so you're not stressed. The first thing I do when I wake up is I don't look at my phone. This was hard at first because, like most people, I was addicted to checking my phone the second I opened my eyes. But I realized that when I did that, I was immediately putting other people's priorities and other people's energy into my head before I even had a chance to think about what I wanted from my day. So now my phone stays on the charger across the room, and I don't touch it for at least the first hour. Instead, I get up, I splash some cold water on my face, and I drink a big glass of water. And this is such a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference. After sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, your body is dehydrated, right? So that water just wakes everything up. I can actually feel it working. And then I spend about 10 minutes just sitting quietly. Some people would call this meditation, but I don't make it super formal. I just sit on my couch with a cup of tea or coffee, and I take some deep breaths, and I think about the day ahead. I ask myself a few questions. What am I grateful for today? What are the 3 most important things I need to accomplish? And how do I want to feel by the end of the day? And writing these down, even just mentally noting them, it gives me clarity. Because otherwise it's so easy to just react to whatever comes at you, the emails, the requests, the little fires you have to put out. But if you start with intention, you're way more likely to actually do what matters to you. After that quiet time, I move my body a little bit. Nothing crazy, just some stretching. I'll do some yoga poses, roll out my shoulders, stretch my legs, just 5 or 10 minutes to get the blood flowing. And this is especially important if you're someone who sits at a desk all day like I do. You need to wake up your body and remind it that it's designed to move. Then around 6:15 or so, I'll have a light breakfast. I'm not a huge breakfast person, so I keep it simple. Usually it's some oatmeal with berries and nuts, or maybe some eggs and avocado on toast. Something with protein and some healthy fats to keep me full and focused. And I eat it slowly. I don't scroll on my phone, I don't watch TV, I just eat and enjoy it. And again, this sounds so basic, but how often do we actually just eat without doing 10 other things at the same time? Probably not very often. And then by 6:45 or so, I'm ready to start my deep work. This is the time when my brain is the sharpest, when I have the most energy and focus. So I use this time for whatever is the most important or challenging task of the day. If I'm writing something, I write. If I'm working on a big project, I work on that. If I'm learning something new, I study. This is not the time for checking email or doing busy work. That can wait. This is prime time for your brain. And you want to use it for the things that actually move the needle in your life. And I'll usually do this deep work for about 2 hours, sometimes 2.5. I use a technique kind of like the Pomodoro method where I'll work for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. During those breaks, I get up, I walk around, I look out the window, I stretch again. I don't check social media or get sucked into anything that's going to pull my attention away. It's just a reset for my brain so I can come back fresh. Now here's the thing about deep work. It's hard. It requires discipline. Because there are going to be so many things trying to distract you, right? Your phone is going to buzz, you're going to think of something you need to look up, you're going to feel the urge to just check your email real quick. But every time you give in to that, you break your focus, and it takes like 20 minutes to get back into that flow state. So I've learned to just let those urges pass. I remind myself that everything else can wait, and it always can. By 9 or 9:15, I've usually finished that first deep work session, and I feel amazing because I've already done something meaningful. I've already made progress on something that matters, and that feeling sets the tone for the rest of the day. Even if the rest of the day gets chaotic, I know I've already won because I did the important thing first. Then around 9:30, I head to the gym, and this is non-negotiable for me. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made for my health and my happiness. Exercise isn't just about looking good or losing weight or whatever. I mean, those things are nice, but for me, it's about how it makes me feel mentally. After a workout, I feel energized, I feel confident, I feel clear-headed. All the stress and tension from the day just melts away. And I mix it up at the gym. Some days I do strength training, lifting weights, working on building muscle and getting stronger. Other days I do cardio, maybe running on the treadmill or using the elliptical or taking a spin class. And then sometimes I'll do a yoga class or something more chill if my body needs a break. The key is just moving your body in a way that feels good to you. I'm usually at the gym for about an hour, sometimes an hour and 15 minutes. And I make sure to push myself, but I also listen to my body. If something hurts or doesn't feel right, I don't push. Through it, there's a difference between discomfort, which is part of getting stronger, and pain, which is your body telling you to stop. And I think a lot of people ignore that difference and end up hurting themselves. After the gym, I'll come home and have a post-workout snack, usually a protein shake or some Greek yogurt with fruit, something to help my muscles recover and give me energy for the rest of the morning. And then I take a shower, get dressed, and I'm ready to tackle the next part of my day. By 11 or 11:30, I'm back at my desk for another work session. But this one is different from the morning deep work. This is when I do more collaborative stuff, more communication-heavy tasks. So this is when I'll check my emails and respond to the important ones. I'll have any meetings or calls that need to happen. I'll do administrative tasks or planning or organizing. The stuff that needs to get done, but doesn't require that same level of deep focus that the morning work did. And I try to batch these tasks together so I'm not constantly switching between different types of work. Like, I'll do all my emails at once instead of checking them every 10 minutes throughout the day. I'll schedule all my calls back to back, if possible, so I'm in communication mode, and then I can go back to focus mode. This just makes everything more efficient and less mentally draining. I'll work through until about 1 or 1:30, and then it's time for lunch. And again, I try to keep this pretty healthy and balanced. Maybe a big salad with chicken or salmon, or a bowl with quinoa and vegetables and some kind of protein. And I actually take a break to eat it. I step away from my desk, I sit at my kitchen table or outside if the weather's nice, and I just eat. No laptop, no phone, just me and my food. And after lunch, this is really important, I take a real break, like a 30 or 40-minute break where I'm not working at all. Sometimes I'll go for a walk around my neighborhood. Sometimes I'll read a book or listen to music. Sometimes I'll just lie down and rest for a bit. And this break is crucial because it gives my brain a chance to recharge. We're not designed to focus intensely for 8 or 10 hours straight. We need these periods of rest to stay sharp and creative. I used to feel guilty about taking breaks like this. I felt like I should be working every possible minute to get more done, but I've learned that taking breaks actually makes me more productive, not less. Because when I come back to work after a real break, I have more energy, more ideas, more focus. It's like when you're trying to remember something and you can't quite get it, and then you stop trying and go do something else, and suddenly it pops into your head. Your brain needs that space. So then around 2:15 or 2:30, I'm back for another work session. And this one usually lasts until about 4:30 or 5. And depending on what I need to do, this might be more deep work if I still have something big to finish, or it might be more of that batching of smaller tasks. And I'm always checking in with myself during this time. Am I still focused? Am I still being productive? Or am I just kind of mindlessly clicking around and pretending to work? Because there's a big difference, right? And if I notice that I'm not really being productive, I'll take another short break. I'll get up and move, or I'll do a quick breathing exercise, or I'll make a cup of tea. Something to reset my energy so I can finish strong. Because there's no point in sitting at your desk for 10 hours if half that time you're not actually getting anything done. It's better to work intensely for 6 hours and then actually be done. By 5 or 5:30, I'm wrapping up my work for the day. And this is another thing that's really important to me. I have a hard stop time. I don't work in the evenings unless it's absolutely necessary, like a real emergency. And honestly, that almost never happens. Most things that feel urgent really aren't. They can wait until tomorrow. And having that boundary between work time and personal time is so important for your mental health and your relationships and just your overall happiness. Because if you're always working or always thinking about work, you never fully relax, you never fully recharge. And over time, that leads to burnout. I've been there, and it's not worth it. So in the evening, I really try to do things that help me unwind and that bring me joy. Sometimes I'll cook dinner, and I actually really enjoy cooking. It's creative, it's hands-on, and at the end you have something delicious to eat. And I'll try new recipes or just make old favorites. And again, I'm not rushing through it. I'm taking my time, enjoying the process. I'll eat dinner around 6:30 or 7, and often I'll eat with my partner or with friends if we're getting together. Or sometimes I'll just eat by myself, and that's nice too. And we'll talk about our days, we'll laugh, we'll share stories. That connection with other people is so valuable. We need it. We're social creatures, right? And especially if you work from home or work alone a lot, you need to make time for that social connection. After dinner, I have a few hours to do whatever I want. Sometimes I'll watch a show or a movie. Sometimes I'll read. I love reading, and I try to read for at least 30 minutes every evening. Sometimes it's fiction, just a good story to get lost in. Other times it's nonfiction, something I'm learning about or interested in. And reading before bed is so much better than scrolling on your phone because it actually helps you wind down instead of wiring you up. Other evenings, I might work on a hobby. I like painting, even though I'm not very good at it. But that's not the point. The point is that it's fun and it's creative and it's just for me. Not everything you do has to be productive or have a purpose beyond just enjoying it. And I think we forget that sometimes. We feel like we always have to be optimizing and improving and working towards something. But sometimes you can just do something because it makes you happy. I also try to spend some time connecting with friends or family, even if it's just a phone call or a video chat. Those relationships are important, and they need attention and care just like anything else. And it's easy to let them slide when you get busy, but you have to make the effort. You have to prioritize the people who matter to you. Around 9 or 9:30, I start getting ready for bed, and I have a whole wind-down routine that helps me sleep better. I'll dim the lights in my house because bright lights tell your brain it's still daytime and you should be awake. I'll maybe take a warm shower or bath, which is super relaxing. I'll do some gentle stretching or just lie on the floor and breathe for a few minutes. And this is when I'll reflect on the day. I'll think about what went well, what I'm proud of, what I learned. And I'll also think about what didn't go so well and what I want to do differently tomorrow. But I don't dwell on it or beat myself up about it. I just notice it and let it go. Every day is a new chance to try again and do better. I also keep a gratitude journal by my bed, and I'll write down 3 things I'm grateful for from that day. And they don't have to be big things. Sometimes it's just like, I'm grateful for my morning coffee, or I'm grateful that the weather was nice, or I'm grateful for a good conversation I had with a friend. But taking a moment to notice the good things, even the small things, it shifts your mindset. It helps you end the day on a positive note instead of focusing on what went wrong or what you didn't get done. And then I'll read for a little bit in bed, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And by 10 or 10:30, I'm turning off the lights and going to sleep. And I try to get at least 7 hours, ideally 8. Sleep is so important, and it's not something you can skimp on and expect to function well. When you don't get enough sleep, everything is harder. You can't focus as well, you don't have as much energy, you're more irritable, you make worse decisions. Sleep is when your body recovers and your brain processes everything from the day. So you have to prioritize it. Now let me step back for a second and talk about why this structure works for me and how you can adapt it for yourself. Because the specifics of my routine aren't what's important. What's important are the principles behind it. First, I start my day with intention. I don't just react to whatever comes at me. I decide what's important and I protect time for that. And that means saying no to a lot of things. It means not checking email first thing. It means not filling every minute of my day with meetings or obligations. It means being selective and deliberate about where my time and energy go. Second, I prioritize my health. I move my body, I eat well, I sleep enough. And I don't do this because I'm trying to look a certain way or hit some arbitrary goal. I do it because it makes me feel good. It gives me energy. It keeps my mind clear. And when you feel good physically, everything else is easier. You're more patient, more creative, more resilient. You can handle stress better. You can enjoy life more. Third, I create space for deep work. I protect blocks of time where I can focus without interruptions. And this is where all the important stuff happens. This is where you make real progress on your goals. This is where you learn and grow and create. And most people never do this. They spend their whole day in shallow work, responding to emails and going to meetings and putting out fires. And at the end of the day, they feel busy, but they haven't actually moved forward on anything that matters. Fourth, I take real breaks. I don't try to power through for hours and hours without stopping. I give my brain and body time to rest and recharge. And this isn't lazy. This is smart. Because you can't perform at your best when you're exhausted. You need rest to be productive. You need breaks to stay creative. And you need time away from work to actually enjoy your life. And fifth, I have boundaries. I protect my evenings and my weekends. I don't let work take over my entire life. And this has been one of the hardest things for me to learn because I love what I do and it's easy to just keep working. But I've realized that I'm a better worker when I have a life outside of work. When I have hobbies and relationships and experiences that have nothing to do with my job. That's what makes life rich and meaningful. So if you want to start managing your day better, here's what I would suggest. Don't try to change everything at once. That's overwhelming and it usually doesn't stick. Instead, pick 1 or 2 things to focus on first. Maybe you start by waking up 30 minutes earlier and using that time to set your intention for the day. Or maybe you block off 1 hour of deep work time where you turn off all your notifications. Or maybe you commit to taking a real lunch break instead of eating at your desk. Start small and build from there. Pay attention to what works for you and what doesn't, because everyone is different, right? Some people are morning people and some are night owls. Some people need a lot of social interaction and some need a lot of alone time. Some people love going to the gym and some people prefer hiking or dancing or playing sports. There's no one right way to structure your day. But there are some universal principles. You need sleep, you need movement, you need good food, you need time to focus, you need time to rest, you need connection with other people, you need to do things that challenge you and help you grow. and you need to do things that bring you joy. If you're hitting all of those, you're probably doing pretty well. And here's the other thing. Some days aren't going to go according to plan, and that's okay. Life happens. You get sick, or something unexpected comes up, or you just have an off day where you can't focus and you're not feeling it. And on those days, you adjust, you do what you can, and you don't beat yourself up about it. You just try again tomorrow. Because this isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about taking ownership of your time and your energy and your life. It's about making choices that align with what you actually value, instead of just going through the motions and hoping things work out. And over time, these small daily choices add up to something big. When you consistently start your day with intention, when you consistently move your body and take care of your health, when you consistently protect time for what matters and set boundaries around work, your life changes. You feel better, you accomplish more, you have better relationships, you're happier. I can tell you from personal experience that my life is so much better now than it was when I was just letting the day happen to me. When I was waking up late and rushing around and reacting to everything and working all the time and not taking care of myself. I was stressed, I was tired, I wasn't growing, I wasn't happy. And I knew something had to change. So I started experimenting with different routines and different habits. And some things worked and some things didn't. And I kept adjusting and refining until I found something that really worked for me. And it's still evolving. I'm always learning and trying new things. But the core structure is there, and it gives me a foundation to build on. And I want that for you too. I want you to feel energized and focused and happy. I want you to feel like you're making progress on the things that matter to you. I want you to feel like you have control over your life instead of feeling like life is controlling you. So think about your days. Think about how you're spending your time. Are you being intentional, or are you just reacting? Are you taking care of your health, or are you running yourself into the ground? Are you making time for the things that truly matter, or are you constantly putting them off for someday later? And then start making changes. Small ones at first. Build new habits one at a time, and be patient with yourself because change takes time. You're not going to transform your whole life overnight, but you can start today. You can wake up tomorrow morning and decide to do one thing differently, and then another thing the next day, and another thing the day after that. And before you know it, weeks have passed, months have passed, and your life looks completely different. Your days feel different. You feel different. And that's when you realize that all those little daily choices really do add up to something meaningful. You know, one of the biggest shifts for me was realizing that my day isn't something that happens to me. It's something I create. Every morning when I wake up, I get to decide how today is going to go. Now, obviously, I can't control everything, right? Things come up, plans change, life throws curveballs, but I can control how I respond. I can control where I put my attention and my energy. And that's empowering. That's the difference between feeling like a victim of your circumstances and feeling like the author of your life. And I think a lot of us walk around feeling like we don't have choices, like we're just stuck in this routine that we don't like. But we do have choices. We might not be able to change everything, but we can change more than we think. Like, maybe you can't control what time you have to be at work, but you can control what time you wake up and what you do with that time before work. Maybe you can't control how long your commute is, but you can control what you listen to or think about during that commute. Maybe you can't control how many meetings you have, but you can control what you do in between those meetings. There's always some element of choice, some element of agency, and when you start recognizing that and using it, everything shifts. You stop feeling so powerless. You stop feeling so overwhelmed. You start feeling like, okay, I can do this. I can make my days better. I can make my life better. And another thing I want to mention is the importance of consistency, because you can have the perfect routine on paper, but if you only do it once a week, it's not going to make much of a difference. The magic happens when you do these things consistently, day after day, week after week. That's when your body and your brain start to adapt. That's when habits form and things start to feel automatic instead of like a struggle. In the beginning, waking up early was hard. Going to the gym was hard. Turning off my phone in the morning was hard. But I kept doing it, and after a few weeks, it got easier. And after a few months, it was just part of who I am. I don't have to fight myself anymore to do these things. They're just what I do. And that's the power of consistency. You're not just doing something once and expecting a miracle. You're building a life, one day at a time. You're creating patterns and habits that support the kind of person you want to be and the kind of life you want to live. Now I know some people listening might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but I just don't have time for all of this. I'm too busy, I have kids or a demanding job or whatever, and I get it. Life is complicated and everyone's situation is different, but here's what I would say to that. You don't have to do everything I do. You don't have to wake up at 5:30 or go to the gym every day or have a perfect evening routine. But you can do something. You can pick one thing that would make the biggest difference for you and start there. Maybe it's just getting 15 more minutes of sleep, or taking a 10-minute walk on your lunch break, or eating one healthy meal a day, or spending 5 minutes in the morning thinking about your priorities. Start where you are, start with what you can actually do, and then build from there. Because even small changes make a difference. Even one healthy habit can start to shift your momentum in a positive direction. And often, once you start making one positive change, it gets easier to make more. It's like you're building confidence and proof that you can do this. And as for not having time, I think a lot of times what we really mean is that it's not a priority. And I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm saying it because it's true for all of us, including me. We all have the same 24 hours, and we make time for what's important to us. If something is truly a priority, we find a way. And if it's not, we find an excuse. So maybe the question isn't how do I find more time, but rather, what am I prioritizing right now, and is that really what I want to be prioritizing? Because we all waste time on things that don't matter. Scrolling social media, watching TV shows we don't even really like, sitting in meetings that could have been an email, saying yes to obligations we don't actually care about. And if you took even half of that time and redirected it to something that would actually improve your life, that would make a huge difference. You probably have more time than you think. It's just a matter of being intentional about how you use it. All right, so let me bring this all together. Managing your day isn't about following some rigid schedule or turning yourself into a robot. It's about being intentional with your time and energy. It's about taking care of yourself, your health, your mind, your relationships. It's about making space for what truly matters and not letting the urgent but unimportant things crowd out the important. For me, that means starting my day with quiet and intention, doing my most important work when my brain is sharpest, moving my body, eating well, taking real breaks, setting boundaries around work, and spending my evenings doing things that bring me joy and connection. And all of these things together create a life that feels good. A life where I'm growing and learning and happy. And I want that for you too. I want you to design a day that works for you, a day that supports your goals and your health and your happiness. And I want you to know that it's possible. It might take some experimenting and some adjusting and some discipline, but it's absolutely possible. So my challenge to you is this. Think about one thing you can change about your daily routine starting tomorrow. Just one thing, and commit to doing it for a week. See how it feels. See what difference it makes. And then maybe add another thing, and another. And keep building until you have a day that you're excited about, a day that energizes you instead of draining you. Because life is made up of days, right? And if you can make your days better, you make your life better. It's really that simple. So start today. Start now. You've got this. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.